Assalamualaikum everyone. The topic of our presentation is taking credit of others' work. My group members are Aruba Amir, Mohammad Faizan, Huzaifa bin Anwar, and Ahmad Jawad. So, starting with the introduction and the background. What exactly this term taking credit of other works mean? Let me give you an example. Assume that you have been working for the organization for 5 years and your work has been exemplary by all standings. The department has just announced that one of the two workers will be promoted to the position of the assistant supervisor to replace the departing employees, which carry 10,000 higher annual salary. You believe that you deserve this promotion because you have done a lot of effort on it. You and your co-worker up for the promotion recently finished a project with 3 other group members. Next day you came to know that one of your group member take all the credit of your work and the post of the assistant supervisor is given to him. How does it feel like? Publicly claiming credit of the work you do is also known as tooting your own horns, is not comfortable for most of the people. Now consider what feels worse, proactively claiming credit of your major accomplishments or having the credit taken by someone else. Looking towards the background, here a question arises that how this kind of actions affected in past. There is a universal principle that is it is very wrong to take the credit of others' work. You have an ethical duty to give credit where the credit is due. It would be unjust outcome to take credit of someone else's work. Not might only laws such that company codes be broken by one's rule in the society might be compromised. Talking about the pros and cons, we all know that everything has some advantages and disadvantages. Looking toward the pros of this act. Number 1. Maybe your time will be saved and you will have nothing to do much. Number 2. You will not do anything at your own. Number 3. You are only taking the credit of the work done by others. Similarly, there are also cons of this act which are even worse. Number 1. No one will agree to work with you. Number 2. You will not learn anything at your own. Number 3. In the society, no one will trust you or respect you. Number 4. You will be called a thief. Argument from the authentic source. Once Indira Gandhi said there are two kinds of people, those who do the work and those who take the credit. Try to be in the first group, there is less competition there. Now my groupmate Fazan will continue. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. How to justify this act is ethically and morally wrong. Ethical and moral justification. Taking the credit for others' work is an ethical and moral dilemma. Usually, this type of unethical and immoral work is done by those who worked at the high level of authority. This kind of action will not only affect victims but also the organization. The victim, in this sense, he or she will become mentally disturbed and will not focus on other tasks. The organization, in this sense, when this action will disclose, this will destroy the fame of organization, and clients and other employees will not trust this organization. If we talk about Pakistan, mostly this kind of actions occurs at the governmental level, for example, police. We will justify this act is ethically and morally wrong using three arguments, particularly related to engineering. The first one is ethical and moral theory. In this point, we will describe which ethical and moral theory is used to justify this act is ethically and morally wrong, and why we use this theory. The second one is PEC Code of Ethics. In this, we quote the verses of the Holy Quran which are included in Pakistan Engineering Council Code of Ethics. The third one is Pakistan Engineering Council and IEEE Code of Conduct. In this, we quote the articles and principles of the PEC and IEEE Code of Conduct. Ethical and moral theory. Taking credit for others' work is such a sort of activity that violates the ethical and moral theories. We relate this ethical and moral dilemma with one of the ethical and moral theory is Kantian theory. According to Kantian theory, the rightness and wrongness of action does not depend upon the consequences, it only depends upon how you fulfill your duty. Why the content theory? Because it's a right of one to fulfill the right of the others. It's a duty and responsibility of the high level authority to satisfy the right of the employee and not take credit for their work. PEC Code of Ethics. The second one is PEC Code of Ethics. Those who take the credit for others' work not only done injustice but also lie and fraud the victim, which is not acceptable in any religion, any organization, and in any business. PEC Code of Ethics, which are quoting verses from the Holy Quran. The first verse is Allah commands you to render back your trust to those to whom they are, and that when you judge between the people, you judge with justice. Allah admonishes you with what is excellent. So, this means that when you are at the high authority, you use this authority in the right way and do justice between the peoples. The second verse is and speak straight word. It means that don't lie for reaping the credit for others' work. The third verse is give full measure and weight justly, and defraud not man of the things, and act not corruptly in the land, making mischief. It means that not fraud with people by taking the credit for their works. PEC and IEEE Code of Conduct. The third one is PEC and IEEE Code of Conduct. According to PEC and IEEE Code of Conduct, this action is ethically and morally wrong. Those who get credit who are not involved is ethically and morally wrong act. According to Article 15 of PEC, only those deserve the credit for any engineering work who involved in particular work. According to IEEE Principle 7.03, those who get credit who are not involved is ethically and morally wrong action. This is from my side. Now, Ahmad Jawad will continue.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed. I'm gonna here discuss about the effect of taking credit of other work. Effects. When we come to the effect, we can see that this kind of unethical and immoral dilemma affect the victim, organization, and country. Here, I will be following cover the following part: effect on victim, effect of organization, and effect on country. First will be the effect on person. The first effect will be the angriness. Here we can see that victim feel angry about the fact that credit has given to his other fellow and someone else, so he can get angry after thinking about the fact. Second effect will be the mentally disturbance. In this, person will feel mentally disturbed by thinking about the credit that has given to other person. Third will be the lack of trust. In this, victim cannot trust anybody and cannot find any trustworthy in authority and other person where he will be working with them or here will be working. Fourth will be the lack of confidence in which in this victim will lose his confidence by thinking about the credit that he has given to the person, that all his hard working will given to the other person. Last will be the focus on task. In this, a victim cannot be able to focus on the task that is assigned to him by thinking about the credit has given to other person. When we come to the effect of organization, we can see that first effect will be the lack of unity. In this, the unity between project member will come to an end, and he cannot find any trustworthy in organization where he will be working. Second will be the lack of communication. Communication is the major part in the organization. Communication between project member decreases due to the lack of unity, so they can't work together and they cannot work together. Last will be the lack of client trust. In this, victim cannot find any trustworthy, and due to lack of unity and trust among person, they cannot work together and cannot satisfy the client as whole. The last will be the effect on country. In this, first effect will be the lack of honesty, where lack of honesty. In this, when somebody take other work credit, the honesty will decreases and nobody can find any trustworthy in the country. Second effect will be the lack of faith. When somebody take his credit and cannot accept it and speak lie to that person, so it affect his faith badly. Last will be the lack of progress. If a person is not honest with his work and other somebody, so it would decrease the progress and would not be able to make progress in the country. Thank you. Now Zafa will continue.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم. How to overcome these dilemmas? First is assess the damage to your business. Whenever someone has copied your work or ideas, the first thing you need to do is work out exactly how much the damage the thief has cases. The basic question you need ask is whenever the thief something fundamental of what you offer or something paraphrase. Take a few days to analyze the damage because initial outrage can sometimes cool your judgment. You should estimate the time and cost involved the creating and the original plus a- any ongoing damage to your reputation, loss of the work. Being in the mind that issue, such as the machine-generated spam blogs, which are which are typically on the copies and compare very different law, are using fake IDs. There many, there may be little on the constraint action you can take. Number two, content their copy and plagiarism. If you possible to communicate with the person and company that sold you your idea to avoid getting to touch to the point of their product services and exact repetition with the you are offering and ask them they have done this. You can see the contacted but careful keep your temper. Your message should let you know you have seen the understood which they had done. Leave the door open and potential function if you nervous about the contacting them. If you are good guide and dealing in the plagiarism, you maybe get a response which might and well has outright dental, but you should light or happen you discover to two product services and the similar you throughout if you rival came up and the ideal independently and explain through the process back in the world, back in the up. Number 3 point improve on the original work. Improve of the original work look the forward has about the dealing with the thief assuming they do not want on the have the ability to take the an offer of the code. Find out the improve on the which have token. Bear in the mind you have full the good idea in the first place and thief is short inspiration. They we have had the steal they put have a game. Ultimately, you are offering in your client something better and copycat which should be going the nice warm feeling, fresh and contact. Number four is guard your good ideas. There is absolutely concluding with the name protect your good ideas where possible. Blending in one good guarding your work associated with your name closely and publicly which the product or services providing so much obviously if someone steal your work if you work hard associate yourself and work and quality and other the positive attributes can be contained completely advantages. Taking the note time frame also important. Number five, file of the parents or copyright. If your business were investing and critically to successful to retain the sole ownership and the process, you can consider the filling of the patient if you really is not cheap option, but it is a parent offer the making user offering for the sale and seller using behind. So to obtain the patiently investing to be novel and then obviously. Number six is take a legal action. You may be think the legal action in only may forward when someone has copied your work and how you must be take the thing through going to court and expenses option. It may be only worldwide if you product services you can carry suffering significant damage that can be provided has been caused by the copier. Also remember as we explained to your register. Number if you estimate the loss and the small and third is conclusion. Discovering your vitamins and the plagiarism can be devastating, especially if you work long and hard to produce something of the quality. It's even worse if the reputation could suffering and result of the theme. Whenever some copy your world, and there is a various potential way to resolve the theme. Reference points in our office.